Hi, my name is Nathan Fisher, and today I'm going to give you an overview of Adobe Audition, and then we're going to record a little bit of audio and go through some basic editing techniques before we bounce our project out. So I've got Adobe Audition open here. What I want you to do is go to go to Adobe Audition, Preferences, and then click on Audio Hardware. And before you begin, make sure that you are set to your built-in microphone and your built-in output. So if you have a USB microphone that appears here and you want to use that, that's fine. But for today's tutorial, just use the built-in components of the computer. It should work. And then click OK. So what I've got here is my project panel for Adobe Audition. I've got a files window. There's a few ways to import files here. The first way is I can double click inside the file menu panel, and this file window appears, and I can go through and I can select various MP3s or WAV files that I want to import. I can go to File, Import, click on the file, and I will get the file import window. I can hit the keyboard shortcut Command-I on a Mac or Control-I on a PC. That opens the file import window. Or there's a fourth way in this. I can go down here and I can click on this panel with Media Browser and Effects Rack and click on Media Browser. And I can scroll to where my files are saved. I can select them, drag them, and drop them into the Files panel. So that's another feature that we have here with Adobe Audition. If I click on Effects Rack, I have the various effects that I can add to my tracks in post-production. So I can add reverb, I can add EQ, I can add digital delay or other sound effects that I might want. Down here I have a history panel, and the history panel I can keep track of every edit that I've made along the way, and if I make a mistake or I want to go back, I can use the history panel as a way to reverse any errors or see where I might have gone wrong in my editing process. Here we have our editor and mixer window. This is where we're going to see our multi-track session and where we can look at the waveform up close, and this is where we're going to be editing and mixing and doing everything. So to get started in our project, we want to go to File, we want to go to New Multi-Track Session, or you can use Command-N on a Mac or Control-N on a PC to open your session. You're going to get your new multi-track session window, and we want to call this 2020 Adobe Audition 2.0, and then we want to go to Browse so that we know for sure that it goes into our project folder, and we want to name the project. Let's go to our desktop and Adobe Audition. We're going to call this 2020 Adobe Audition Demo 2.0, and we're going to hit Create and choose, and so our files will be saved there. For template, just hit None. For your sample rate, keep it at 48,000. For your bit depth, 32 float. And now for our master, I'm using a mono microphone, so I've selected mono. If you're using your built-in stereo, you can use stereo. Or if you're using two microphones, use stereo. If you're using your built-in input, use stereo. That's what I meant to say. Okay, so we hit OK. Once you're feeling good about all this, just hit OK. So now what we have are our track panels, and I can click anywhere on these tracks to select the various track, and I can select inside of the track over here also. If we want to rename this, we're going to call this Voice 1. Hit Enter. We've named that Voice 1. So you can, if you have a multi-track session and you're planning on doing a bunch of things, you can record with this. You can name each one of these according to your project. The M means to mute, so if I click on the M, that mutes this one track, and if I have audio in all these other tracks, I will still hear those tracks. If I select S, that means solo. That means that I will only hear this track, and any audio in these remaining tracks will be muted. R, record enables. So you see that you can see my level right here within the track start as soon as I record enable. If I turn it off, it goes silent. The default input will automatically be drawn from what your initial setting was in audio hardware, which we did on the outset. But you should go in here and just make sure that you select exactly where your sound is coming from. In this case, mine's coming from my mono microphone going through my universal audio, but you want yours to go through your built-in input. Okay, so we're pretty set to go here as far as being record enabled. Down on the bottom here, you have your controls. So you have stop and play, which you can click on down here, or you can just use the space bar. So if I hit the space bar, I play. If I hit the space bar, I stop. But I can also click on that to play, and I can click on that to stop. So that's that. You can pause. If I want to go back to the beginning of the playhead, I can click that beginning of playhead. I can fast forward, or I can rewind using the playback controls here. And then I can record using space shift. I can loop the playback using Command L, or I can skip selection. So that's it. That's a quick overview of how our program is going to work. Now let's record some audio. I'm going to record a short quote by Leonard Bernstein, and I'm going to have a little cough in the middle, and that's going to be on purpose. So here we go. I'm going to use Shift Space. Oops. Okay. So what happened there is I didn't see the red record region start because I didn't record enable my track. So before you record, you have to record enable. And now I see my level there. I'm going to hit Shift Space and let's go. To achieve great things, two things are needed. A plan and not quite enough time. So what I've got here, let's just have a listen back. To achieve great things, two things are needed. A plan and not quite enough time. So we have our audio recorded. So let's take a look now at the various elements up here. For today, we're just going to use multi-track, and this is your spectrum analysis. We're not going to get into that today. These are your 4 tools used for editing. So we have a move tool, we have the razor selection tool, we have the slip tool, and we have a time selection tool. So the keyboard shortcuts, V, R, Y, and T. So if I go over here and I click V, I have the move tool. If I click R, I have the razor tool. If I click Y, I have the slip tool. And if I hit T, I've got the time selection tool. Let's click V to select our move tool. Now with the move tool, I can move my region within the track, and I can even just drag it into other tracks. And it changes colors to match the track color on the left here. With the move tool, I can grab this gray box and I can create a fade in and a fade out, and that can be very handy. I can click on this yellow line and I can automate vocal dynamics that happen, or any dynamics. So if I click here, let's just listen to it again without that. To achieve great things. So if I want to automate that volume, if I feel that's too soft, I can just drag the yellow line down, and it tells me how many decibels, minus 10.6 decibels. And if I want to increase the volume on just that one note, then I can increase it like that. To achieve great things, two things are needed. Right. So for today, we're not going to use that feature, and let's just hear it naturally. To achieve great things. There we go. All right. So we're all back to normal. I'm going to delete these, and so that's the power of the move tool. Oh, there's one more function. If you go to the beginning of the region and you put your move tool over the white line, you'll get the red bracket that you see here. If you click and hold and drag, you can drag the edges of the region to tighten up around your audio, so you can get rid of any white noise. That can be a very handy feature. All right, so now we're going to look at the razor tool, or you can click R. So V for move, R for razor, and I just bring the razor tool over to the region just before I see the spike of where my voice starts, the transient there, and I'm just going to click, and it automatically deletes that. So I can go to the end and I can clean up the end. Then I click V to select the move tool. I select and delete the regions that I've created by splitting, and my audio is cleaned up that way. So you can do the same thing with multiple tools here. The slip tool, or Y, so if I select Y, now by shrinking the edges of the region, I actually, the audio is still, you can move it around within that frame that you've created. So if I click V to select the move tool and I grab this and drag it back out to its original form, and then I click Y to select the slip tool, you'll see that it doesn't really move in there. If I drag those edges back in and then I select the slip tool using the command shortcut Y, I can slip my region around in there. So that's a handy feature. And then we've got the time selection tool, or T. So with the time selection tool, you can do a couple things. Let's say I really love this cough and I just want to copy it and I want to paste it. Then I can paste it into various tracks, and there we go. You have lots of my cough. If I wanted to, just kind of have fun and drag it and offset them just a little bit, I could do that. And now listen. That's great, right? So, okay, I'm going to delete my extra coughs, and I want to get rid of this cough in my mix. And so with the time selection tool, keyboard shortcut T, wherever I put this cursor, I will create a splice in the region here. So I can make sure it's selected, the region, and I hit Command K or Control K on Command K on a Mac, Control K on a PC, and it splits the region there. And I can do the same thing here. Get the cursor where I want it, Command K on a Mac, Control K on a PC, and hit V to select the move tool and delete my cough. With the move tool, I can just bring the regions together, and with this program, if you just overlap them a little bit, you'll see that yellow X that appears, right? And so we want just a little bit of that to crossfade the two, and let's have a listen.
To achieve great things, two things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time.
So it's a little bit weird, so let's try it again.
To achieve great things, two things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time.
So that sounds good. So now we can select this region holding Command on a Mac or Control on a PC. Click in the adjoining region so that they're both selected, and just slip them to the beginning of the playhead. And there you have your...
To achieve great things, two things are needed: a plan and not quite enough time.
And there you have your clean up audio. Now what I want to do is just kind of show you how it's non-destructive. In other words, our original file still exists right here. So I want you to click on that, grab it, and drag it over here. And you'll see that we still have our cough in our very uncleaned up, region. So what I want you to do is drag your edges so that the region is cleaned up that way. And what we're going to do is we're going to bounce this out so that your cleaned up version is here and the original version is there, and that's that. So to do that, the first thing we want to do is select the track and just go to File, Export, Multi-Track Mixdown, Entire Session, and you're going to get your Export Multi-Track Mixdown window. And so what we're going to do is make sure that we name this 2.0, and let's call it Bounce. and let's make sure that it's going to our project folder. And in this case, Adobe, we want it to go to 2.0, and we hit save. Now, for the purposes of this exercise, save it as an MP3 file. However, in the future and when you're working on professional projects, you'd want to use a WAV file. So MP3 file, leave everything as is, and then click OK. And that's that. So once your bounce is done, your project's over. Take that MP3 and upload it, and that's it. Have a great weekend.